In the shadowy margins of medieval Europe, a legend emerged of a woman who defied the rules, deceived the most powerful institution in the Christian world, and sat, undiscovered, on the throne of St. Peter. Her name was Pope Joan, or so the story goes. The tale begins in the mid-9th century, around the year 855. According to later accounts, a brilliant young woman, disguised as a man, rose through the ranks of the church under the name John. She became a scholar, a priest, a cardinal, and eventually, Pope. For over 2 years, she allegedly ruled Christendom as Pope John VIII, dispensing papal authority and presiding over holy matters with none the wiser. But then came the moment that unraveled everything. While leading a solemn procession through the streets of Rome, the Pope went into labor. The crowd watched in shock as the Holy Father gave birth, exposing what no one had suspected. Some say she died on the spot. Others claim she was executed by an enraged mob. Either way, the deception ended in blood and scandal. But did any of it really happen? That's where history gets murky and fascinating. The earliest written version of Pope Joan's story doesn't appear until nearly 400 years later, in a 13th century chronicle by Jean de Mailly. His version was brief, but sensational. Later, writers like Martin of Opava expanded it, adding dates, locations, and theological drama. The story was repeated, reprinted, and embroidered across Europe. But there's a problem. No contemporary documents mention a female pope. The Liber Pontificalis, Rome's official papal register, lists no gap in the succession. And Pope John VIII is a real historical figure who reigned from 872 to 882, well after the time frame claimed for Joan. Despite these gaps, the legend spread. In the Middle Ages, it was treated with a strange blend of belief and suspicion. Some saw it as a cautionary tale about pride, others as divine punishment for deception. But it was the Protestant Reformation that gave the legend new life. Reformers like John Huss and Martin Luther seized on the Pope Joan narrative as evidence of papal corruption. Here, they said, was the ultimate proof that the Church was fallible. So corrupt and self-absorbed, it failed to notice a woman sitting at its highest seat. The myth began to affect ritual. One enduring rumor claimed that papal enthronement ceremonies now included a physical verification of gender. A pierced chair, known as the sedia stercoraria, was allegedly used to allow cardinals to verify the new pope's masculinity. A man would sit, a cleric would check. He has two, the cardinal would declare, and the ceremony would proceed. Modern scholars, however, believe the chair's purpose was symbolic. Its name, roughly translated as dung chair, suggests humility, not inspection. Still, the myth persists, and the chairs remain displayed in the Vatican museums, sparking centuries of speculation. There are even stranger clues. Some researchers have examined coins attributed to Pope John VIII and found irregularities, 2 distinct monogram types, possibly hinting at a now erased papal figure. Others argue this is coincidence or confusion. There's no hard evidence, but the idea lingers. By the 17th century, the Catholic Church began to explicitly deny Pope Joan's existence. The legend was labeled a fable, a slander, a Protestant invention. And yet, it wouldn't die. The story entered art and literature. Pope Joan became the subject of plays, poems, and feminist reimaginings. She was painted as a martyr, a genius, a trickster, and a victim. In the 20th century, she became a symbol of suppressed female agency. Even today, novels and films revisit her tale, asking what if? Whether real or invented, the legend of Pope Joan endures because it touches something primal, our fascination with power, gender, and forbidden truth. In a world where women were barred from leadership, Pope Joan offered a radical possibility, that intellect could outwit hierarchy, and that for a brief moment, the unthinkable had happened. Was she real? Most scholars say no, but the story of Pope Joan continues to live, because history, like faith, often turns on what we choose to believe. If you liked what you watched, please Please like and subscribe. We post interesting and crazy stories from throughout history every Wednesday and Saturday. Yesterday's craziness, because yesterday was crazy too.